We all occasionally wonder about the possibilities of living and surviving in harsh environments. When Life Below Zero premiered on the National Geographic Channel in 2013, it offered a glimpse into the lives of people doing just that in the remote areas of Alaska. The show follows individuals as they navigate the challenges of surviving in such a tough and isolated environment. From bears that threaten their lives to the perils of hunting for gold and swarms of bugs, the show captures the stark realities of remote living. Life Below Zero also highlights how the subsistence hunters featured as cast members make a living through various ventures in Alaska's wilderness. Sue Aikens has been one of the show's standout personalities since its inception. The network became intrigued by her unique lifestyle, and ever since the show aired, she has left a lasting impression. However, much has changed over the years, leading many to wonder what became of her. Let's delve into her story. Sue's remarkable lifestyle at the Kavik River Camp in Alaska is rooted in her childhood experiences. Her father frequently relocated the family until her mother eventually divorced him and moved with Sue to a remote area north of Fairbanks, Alaska. Adapting to this harsh environment was challenging for Sue, and the situation became even more difficult when her mother abandoned her, leaving Sue to fend for herself. At one point, an elderly Alaskan handed her a rifle and told her to learn to hunt or face death. This moment marked the beginning of Sue's journey to survival, as she realized that making a living was essential for her survival. Over time, she became adept at living off the land and eventually owned around 32 giant Alaskan malamutes. She would set up to 400 miles of trap lines to hunt and earn a living. However, she eventually stopped hunting foxes, realizing they were more than just a source of fur. They were friends. Before joining Life Below Zero, Sue appeared in the TLC reality series Sarah Palin's Alaska in an episode titled, "She's a Great Shot." Her appearance wasn't planned. It happened after the then governor of Alaska encountered Sue with her 72-year-old father, Chuck Heath, and a family friend named Steve Becker during a caribou hunting trip at Kavik River Camp. This encounter likely brought Sue into the public eye, and her camp soon became a popular destination for hunting parties. In 2011, she also appeared in several episodes of another reality show, Flying Wild Alaska, which followed the Tueto family, operators of Era Alaska Airlines. The chief operating officer discovered Sue's airstrip while searching for landing strips. A lot has transpired since Sue joined Life Below Zero. Before becoming part of the show, she revealed that BBC Studios approached her because of their interest in her unique lifestyle. However, she only agreed to participate because she was treated with great respect. The show respected her privacy, something she deeply valued, by asking for her consent before filming her activities. Sue appreciated this approach, as it preserved her authenticity. Despite her initial praise for the BBC, it was a shock when she filed a lawsuit against BBC Studios' Los Angeles unit in 2017, revealing that not everything was as smooth behind the scenes as it seemed. Sue's lawsuit was filed after she was injured in a snowmobile accident. She was driving at 6 miles per hour across an icy river when she hit an ice heave. The incident, featured in the crash episode, was followed by a second episode that aired in June of the same year. Sue claimed both episodes were filmed without her consent, and she was coerced by producer Aaron Melman. Despite warning the crew about the dangers, her concerns were ignored. After the accident, Sue alleged that the rescue team deliberately delayed their response and made her walk to emphasize her pain for the camera, despite her need for urgent medical attention. This raises the question, why did she wait so long to file the lawsuit, considering the accident occurred in 2015? In another noteworthy event, when the government opened the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge for oil and gas drilling in 2017, there were concerns that Sue might lose her camp, the only commercial center nearby. However, it turns out she doesn't own the land, only the equipment and structures on it. Although nothing came of these concerns, Sue later bid on an abandoned cabin in Chena, Alaska, as a precaution. She won the bid, but that didn't mean she abandoned her Alaska cabin. The Chena property was just a backup in case the government forced her out of Kivik. Recently, Sue's business was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic due to social distancing, which resulted in a lack of clients and reduced revenue. She stayed busy by deep cleaning and upgrading her facilities, replacing old pipes with new, lighter detachable ones, adding new tarps to generator storage sheds, and building new outhouses. Despite her lack of professional training, Sue's remote living has honed her skills, allowing her to manage these upgrades. However, the weather turned unfavorable, preventing her from growing enough food for the winter. After an unsuccessful attempt at gardening, she foraged and found edible fireweed. Fortunately, she also managed to hunt one of the 4 caribou she's allowed to take annually, which she processed for food. Although Sue has managed to survive in solitude for many years, her life is far from glamorous. She has faced attacks from wild animals and harsh conditions. In 2007, a bear attacked her, drawn by the lingering odor from her camp. The bear tossed her around, biting into her skull and dislocating her shoulder and hip. Alone, she dragged herself back to camp, tended to her wounds, and even went out to kill the bear. On her way back, the belt holding her hips together came undone, forcing her to drag herself back to the cabin, where she waited 10 days for help. Sue's motto is, "If it hurts, don't think about it." So it's not surprising that she managed to survive. Sue has faced many challenges, including a serious leg injury in 2011 that required surgery. She spent 3 months away from her camp, and upon returning, discovered that someone had stolen $5,000 worth of fuel, leaving her with only $1,000 worth to last through the winter. With a snowstorm approaching, she had to scramble to get more fuel delivered. For Sue, having a plan is never enough. She always has a backup plan, and sometimes even a backup for the backup. Many people wonder about her love life. Sue has been married twice and has 2 children. Her first husband died of brain cancer. She later married again and stayed with her second husband for 17 years, but they lived in Oregon because he couldn't handle Alaska's harsh conditions. Eventually, they divorced due to their differing personalities, though they remained friends until his death. Sue later met Michael Heinrich online, and while they started as friends, they began dating after his divorce. Although they live apart, they manage their relationship well, often planning vacations together. In 2020, Sue tagged Michael in an Instagram post, confirming they're still together. Could there be a wedding in their future? Only time will tell.